blessing, Nicole and team. It's just exciting to be here amongst dynamic women, amongst mamas who are doing the things, so I'm super excited. I'm just going to share a few things before Blessing comes up and we hang out a little bit. And I like to keep it pretty casual and informal, so don't want to sound preachy ever. If anyone knows me, I'm very much into candid conversation, being an open book. I never claim to have it all together. I'm a work in progress. But I'm super passionate about seeing women thrive. And so if I can share any part of my journey that may help, another woman, especially another mom, I'm here for it and I'm ready to do it. So, cool? Cool. Okay. So I would say that kind of starting to build a business as well as lean into my role as a mom and feel more comfortable in my role as a mom, I really had to adopt a primary thought or way of life. And I share this with other women as much as possible, and that is just the power and the importance of the inner work. So, we sometimes feel as though there's some outside force that's going to propel our next steps or allow us to reach our full potential. Or had I done this, or had this person done this for me, things might be different. But so often I think we overlook that inner work and personal development is what's really going to take us to the next level of professional development. So I always start there. I always love to share that. And really being a mom helps that, right? So, I won't assume that this was everyone's experience, but for me, when I have my daughter Dylan, who I'm super proud of, she's 7, she's my little mini BFF. But when I had Dylan, I went from being somewhat self-absorbed to far more self-aware. And so I remind moms that you're actually more equipped than most people to lead in business and in life, because you have almost been forced, whether you like it or not, to be less self-absorbed and more self-aware. And when you actually can master that self-awareness, it leads you to be more conscious. So conscious in your thoughts, conscious in your actions, to be better planners and thus executors. So I always remind moms especially that you have a lot of the tools right there day in and day out, just raising and pouring into these little people who have forced you to look within and be that more productive in life. The other thing I like to remind people is that ultimately, operating at your highest level of consciousness, as your highest self, is what's going to make the difference day in and day out and how you attack each day, right? So I definitely try to live by certain principles every day that I'm happy to talk more about, that I'll get into a bit more. But all of it is anchored by that inner work and constantly trying to dedicate, myself to being better day in and day out. So you must be aware of your decisions to harness your best life, and you really have to dare to look in the mirror and not only change your thinking, but really rededicate yourself to this change every day. So another thing I like to remind women is, we must manage our minds, right? So this goes back into what we were talking about. So the same way you have a to-do list, you have a list of tasks, you have a schedule that you're keeping, you have to totally manage your mind. So I don't know about anybody else, but negative thoughts creep in a lot during the day. Self-doubt creeps in a lot during the day. And it really used to cripple me until I was actually aware of what I was doing when I was doing it, right? So at some point we have to be able to tell ourselves, oh my God, I'm doubting myself, that's a negative thought, or I was just being shady to her, that's not gonna help me. Whatever it is that's negative, when you're conscious of what you're doing, you can then redirect. So I always remember to, manage the mind in order to help kind of steer where I want to go and what I want to achieve. The other thing is, there's a quote by Wayne Dyer. Who knows Wayne Dyer? Yes? Get into it if you haven't. It'll take you to the next level. But there's a quote by Wayne Dyer that ultimately says, to be open to everything but attached to nothing. So be open to everything but attached to nothing. And I interpret this to mean ultimately, be open enough to create, to love, to have an opinion, to build something, to take a leap. But you can't be attached to the outcomes, good or bad. Because the minute you're attached to the outcomes, it's ultimately letting approval or disapproval dictate what you do. And that's giving power outside of yourself, and that goes against the ability to build for yourself in the way that you want, right? So I would say I spent like most of my 20s worried about what other people thought, seeking validation outside of myself. Is this a cool thing to do? Is it cool that I'm leaving, a really successful career and working with Fortune 100 companies to move back to Detroit and start a nail salon? Like, how do I tell people that? What are they gonna think of me? So I wasted a lot of time, being honest, like worried about what other people thought. Earlier today, Kelly Rapinski is here, who owns Lean Body Studio. She's the reason why my jeans are fitting so well today. Shout out to Kelly. But she mentioned earlier, just like, listen, you don't want to wake up a year from now and all this time has passed and you could have been doing something for yourself or to build yourself, right? And so, it's that same notion of the time that you waste worried about what other people are going to think of you is time that you could have channeled into your own desires and your own future and building what it is that you ultimately want to see. So be open to everything but attached to nothing. And sometimes it's the closest people to you that you have to, kind of set aside their thoughts and beliefs about what you're doing. And I know that firsthand because a lot of people thought that I was a little crazy for kind of leaping out there and doing what I ultimately did. Lastly, empower a village. So I think we've heard this a few times today, but I just want to say there are no medals for doing everything on your own. No one's applauding you for that. There is nothing that falls from the skies. Like, you get a pat on the back and like that's about it. Like there's no growth that comes out of doing everything on your own. So for me, I am never ashamed to tell people that the way I'm able to achieve as much as I'm able to achieve day in and day out is because of the people around me and their love and support and honestly the structure that I put in place for all of those people in that village. So whether it's business or baby raising, you need to delegate. So empower your village, have those around you to help you move forward to propel your dreams. And remember that the comparison is the thief of joy. All of you have a unique purpose. You need to lead purpose-driven lives to ultimately reach your full potential. And as mothers, we are more equipped than many I can think of to do just that. So let me have Blessing come up. We'll talk more. But thank you, ladies.
Oh my God. So I used to be that person that did everything.
You do a lot.
Literally,
we're gonna work on the left.
Yeah. I have Callie. Where's Callie? Is she gone? Callie is my spiritual mentor. She's like always texting me. Blessing, remember to sleep. Remember to sleep. Thank you. Thank you. You do as well. So Kelly, I know that you and I met for lunch yesterday, and you're an amazing woman. You're obviously very successful. What advice do you have for other women that are basically trying to take a leap, right? And you're a marketing guru, and I know a lot of people are here, and I want to ask a specific marketing question because I need to learn. So as a mom, you have so many things going on. What can we do to level up when it comes to sharing our business? Because we don't have time. Like, I don't have time to think about what branding or what social media, Instagram, what do I need to do? How can I pull this together so people know what I'm doing? So
well, you have to. If you have a business, yeah, you have to.
So what advice do you have for moms that basically have a lot going on and they're struggling to figure out what marketing strategy they can put out there to get people to learn about them and their business?
So the first thing I'll say is, for me, I built like a brand in a day, as crazy as that sounds, right? And I knew I was super passionate about it, and I knew I would have no problem sharing with people and telling people about it because of the passion I have for the business. But in building that brand, I had a vision for how I wanted to represent it, the consistency of the brand needed to be there, and ultimately I kind of had my elevator pitch down in a way to equip other people to speak about my business in the same way, right? So I think it is important to have kind of some distinct kind of characteristics or way in which you describe your business or points of differentiation that you can kind of feed other people around you and equip them to discuss your business in a certain way. So word of mouth is more powerful than we realize. And I think that paying off your brand promise is also extremely important. So you can't just market your brand and then actually, fall short of the brand promise that you're asserting, right?
So you've been listening to Nicole, because she's like, listen, we need to under-promise and over-deliver. So hopefully we are over-delivering, all right?
You guys always over-deliver, yes.
Time for one question and short response, so we can get our next speaker. Any questions from the audience for Kelly? Oh wow, she answered all the questions. Oh, okay.
What's your next
Ooh, that's fun. So I guess I didn't take the time to say I own the 10 Nail Bar. I'm co-founder of the 10 Nail Bar. It's Detroit's first modern nail bar experience right here in Capitol Park. So nail care plus bubbly, community, and fun. I'm really excited that we're working on our second location right now. So my co-founder and I are continuing the trend of bringing an elevated experience to Detroit. So the second location will be in another part of Detroit. And we're also looking to expand nationally, more than likely through franchising. So we're working on franchise development right